And welcome back to Sports on Tap. It's our high school football playoff recap.
Bad job out of me.
That's all right,
My
Josh.
bad.
There's a lot of things going on here on Sports on Tap, and we have a special guest right now. He is coming off a 21-20 victory against the number 2 Wadsworth Grizzlies, who were undefeated. Now they'll face another undefeated team. It's the defensive coordinator of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Coach Rob Pace. Coach, thanks for taking time to join us tonight.
My pleasure, guys.
Hey, Coach, how did it feel coming off of a win like that, especially against a Wadsworth team? How much preparation did you guys have to do to prepare for a team that put up that kind of offensive numbers all year?
Quite a bit. I mean, you look at the numbers and you got them in the back of your mind as the seedings come out and all those things. And, we try to stick to what we do, but, making sure that you cross all the T's and dot all the I's and make sure you get your guys going. It took quite a bit of thought process and figuring out, how do we want to use what we have and put it all together to put our kids in the right spots.
Coach, this is Ed Dick here. So I cover the Suburban League National Division. I got to see a lot of these of the Grizzlies. I saw their game against Sylvania Northview, much like you did, and I can't imagine haven't seen that outburst. And what you guys were able to do was nothing short of amazing. One of the things that I noticed was I noticed that you guys didn't send the house at Baughman. And your front four was able to I don't want to say stop Baughman, but definitely contain him to the point where he didn't single-handedly hurt you guys like he has to so many teams this year. Talk a little bit about kind of how you devised that strategy up to limit Baughman as much as you did and take Brock Snowball out of the game completely.
Well, over the years of playing against a guy by the name of Dustin Crum, we learned quite a bit about dangerous running quarterbacks, and we learned the hard way what works. We learned the hard way what does work, or you like to want to work. So we drew on a little bit of that experience, which goes back to how strongly we feel about the SWC and the competition every week. But we drew on some of that. A lot of teams will, a lot of strategies out there, put pressure on them. But a kid that's that athletic, that's that physical, one guy's not typically going to put him down. So you kind of want to funnel him where you can, keep him, where he doesn't have a lot of open space in front of him. Kind of cloud as much of his view as possible, whether if he's looking downfield to throw it. And if he's looking to run it, try to limit as many of the lanes as you can. And then trust that your guys inside are going to be physical enough and put him down when you get the chance.
Coach, this is Sean Duffy. One of the things that I noticed, especially with your defensive unit, was, I imagine going into halftime only having Wadsworth, scoring 7 points had to feel like a big victory, and you could kind of tell, at least defensively, that your team was feeding off of that. What was the mindset coming out in the second half? Because, Baughman did get on Wadsworth did get on a bit of a roll there in the second half. What was your message to your guys when you were on the sidelines, when they were starting maybe it kind of had the markings of a team of Wadsworth kind of doing what they've been doing all season?
Our guys are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think that first half played into that. It just let their confidence that they've been playing with build even more. And we've been in a lot of tight games. I know you guys cover us pretty close, and we've been in a lot of tight games throughout the season here. And that's something that we're comfortable in. We're comfortable in those tight situations. And when we're playing with some confidence and they're coming after it, those are the kind of games we've got a lot of experience doing that. And that's kind of what we preached all week. If he gets one, it's next play. We got to win the next play. And that was the mindset that we instilled in him all week was, on our game plan, that was the on the front page was win the next play. If you're winning the next play, even if something bad happened on the previous one, you're putting yourself in a chance. You're giving yourself a chance as the game progresses, and just keep with that mindset. And, as he broke a run or as he completed a pass, our guys were getting up, and that's what you could hear him talking. Next play, we got to get to the next one. And I think that paid off for us a little bit.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Jeffy. We were talking a little bit about today, just from our point of view, looking at some of these games, talk about what type of factor, if any, that the weather played in this game, along with the others that we've covered. But this game specifically, we kind of all agreed that the weather favored your team as far as the colder temperatures and having to be able your offense to be on the field a little longer. It kind of fits your style of game a little bit more. So, in your opinion, how did the weather, if any, affect this game and the offense that you played against?
Yeah, it's no secret. Our philosophy is run the ball, and anytime you look at weather, you look at outside factors. If you're a running ground and pound team, we're not afraid of bad weather. We're not afraid of rain. We're not afraid of snow. But I'll be honest with you, as cold as it was in the beginning of the night, as things were going, it was. I didn't see it or feel like that was a major factor. Early on, maybe so, but I think as the night progressed, in talking to our guys, are you guys all right? We good? I mean, I didn't have guys huddling around the heater. I didn't have any of that stuff. So I don't know that it played a huge factor. I think once everybody, both teams, us included, coaches included, realized, it's cold, but once the blood gets flowing, that adrenaline gets going, it kind of goes out the window.
Okay, so that just goes to my question, that it only affected us that were actually just watching the game, Josh, on the sidelines and not playing. So,
yeah.
Coach, we have a very tough matchup once again. I mean, this is the second. It's pretty rare, and because you guys do play in a very competitive and deep conference, you're going to be playing the same team in the playoffs now twice. You had a rematch against Midview in week 1 of the playoffs. Now you have a rematch against Avon for the regional championship. You spoke to the strength of the conference earlier, and we've talked about that all year as well. How much of a grind it is to get through the Southwestern Conference, and the success that each of your teams have had so far is definitely a credit to that. Now, this will be the second time you're preparing for a team, the second time. And obviously, not without giving anything away, but what are you looking at now to see what you can do against Avon? Is there anything from the Wadsworth game you're able to draw on that, or is it kind of, all right, we were able to get by Boffman, what can we do to stop Avon now?
Yeah, and like you said, you get more film on them. I was listening earlier, and you talked about, you get an extra film on them, and you have film on how they attacked what our philosophy was in the first round, in week 2, and vice versa. We saw how they attacked us and what the game plan was and how how it affected each other. I think the next level to it is who's going to be able to take that and draw something out of it. Who's going to be able to make the adjustments? What team has progressed farther? The one good thing, I guess, in playing them the second time is the first round was in week 2. And they're a way different team than they were in week 2, and we're a way different team than we were in week 2. Mm-hmm. And I think that, having that experience against them is – it's a little scary because, you're thinking always in the back of your mind, well, they know what we do, or they may know what we do. But if we're able to, put enough wrinkles in there, stay true to what we do, but make a wrinkle here or there and try to stay ahead of them as far as digging into what they've shown recently and that sort of thing, that's kind of the strategy that you take to it and see where can you improve, and then what team improves the most, or are you going to be able to gain an advantage?
Yeah, and, when you look at this Avon team, offensively, what do you see when you look at the tape? Is there a few players in particular that you really are going to focus on stopping, or offensively they have a lot of different weapons with Ryan Malloy, their quarterback. He's the leader there, but they also do have a rushing attack. What do you see on film when you look at Avon's offense?
they're a very versatile offense. If they have the ability to knuckle up with you and just ground and pound you, they have the ability to spread you out and throw it around a little bit. They have the ability to take what you give them. They're smart and they're well coached. And that's a scary combination when they're a smart, well coached, experienced team, and then you can add in the physical nature. That makes for a very credible, very scary, very dangerous opponent. But on the same token, I think that some of what they do and some of what we do defensively, I think we match up pretty well with them, and we're excited for the opportunity to play a really good football team.
Coach, one of the questions I always ask a coach, being a former defensive lineman myself, is one of the things I saw in a lot of these games was your front seven specifically is getting a real good, they're able to dominate the line of scrimmage for the most part and get a real good push and put pressure on a quarterback. Are there areas or players you want to give special notice to who really stepped up, especially during this playoff run? I know your entire defensive unit is really playing well, but specifically from what I've seen is your front seven, your big uglies up front, getting pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run. Is there any of those guys you want to shout out specifically?
Yeah, we made a commitment the last 2 seasons in our weight room, and we have a guy running our weight room that I got to give credit to, and our defensive line coach, Kyle Harriger. He does an outstanding job in the weight room, and we've gotten some guys that have made some serious gains there. As far as our interior lineman, defensive lineman, Trey Henderson, he's our nose tackle, 2-eye, 1 technique kid. And he's not the biggest pound for pound guy, but he's definitely one of the strongest in the league, pound for pound. And he does a great job inside. We have John McCabe is our defensive end. He moves inside here and there, depending on what package we have on the field. He just got an offer from Air Force, and he's been a huge impact guy for us. Whether it's rushing the passer, he's 6'4", 6'5", and gets his hands up and I believe he leads our team in pass breakups or close to it. He's actually second or third in pass breakups as a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
So, you get and we have a couple other guys that rotate, and Bill Wendling and Tommy Petrie and Jaden Mendeluk, who's a linebacker and also go down on the line for us. And they're athletic, but they have a good combination of being real athletic and powerful as well, which gives us a lot of ability up front to do some different things and not get too complicated with it, but be able to utilize some of their abilities.
How nice was it to have Josh Jakin back? He missed most of the regular season with an injury, but came back for the playoffs, and he had some significance in the Wadsworth game. But you also have a lot of players that go both ways on offense and defense. How nice is that for you, especially on the defensive side, to have some of those offensive players come over to the defensive side? Obviously, they have to be in really good shape, but first with Josh Jakin to be back and have an impact there.
Yeah, Josh is a warrior. That kid, he never lost faith in the fact that he was going to be able to get back on the field. And he's a game changer. He's arguably the best athlete we have on either side of the ball. And he's he's very fast. He's physical. He's a very smart, instinctual football player. So getting him back, right towards the end of the season here has been a huge impact on both sides of the ball. And he's been a big, it's not just depth, but just athleticism. And it opens up a lot of what we can do when we have a kid like that, as far as the front seven and different pieces and packages that we can put out there and utilize.
Now, Coach, we saw you get real excited on the sidelines. We noticed you're not the calmest defensive coordinator we've seen out there. But how excited? Last question before we let you go. How excited do you get for these games? We know the kids obviously have to get excited in the schools. Do you get as excited as they do? And before the game, do you give a little bit of a pep talk in there before the game, or what's your excitement like? I mean, we see it on the sidelines. I don't know how you have a voice left after the games.
Yeah, I don't. Some weeks I don't. And I tell myself every week, hey, I'm gonna chill out a little bit this week, or I'm not going to, lose my mind when something good happens or when something bad happens. It's mostly I lose my mind mostly when something good happens. But no, pregame I try to keep it under control. I try to keep it calm, keep my mind clear, and then the second something good happens, it's a reaction. I don't know what goes on, but I get excited. And to answer your question about what do I say to the kids, I have a couple moments where I talk to the defense specifically, whether it's through our meetings, pregame, and then right before they go into the locker room, I have an opportunity to address all of them out on the field. And my ritual is I stay out on the field, and that's the last few moments where I can, review the call sheet, think about game plan, talk to my defensive staff briefly before they come back out on the field. Coach DeLuca usually asks me about one time a year to come into the locker room pregame and say something to the kids, depending on what game it is or a situation or when he feels the need to get me in there and do that. And so usually about once a year I'll go in and give the pregame talk in the locker room.
Very cool.
So that's kind of how it goes, and then it's kind of our little ritual or our habits of what we do pregame and how we organize it.
Very cool. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on our show tonight, taking a little time. We know you're really busy, but we appreciate you spending a little time with us here tonight talking about the game.
No problem, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
All right.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations
Coach.
on your win, and good luck this year or this week.
Thanks, guys. Go Bulldogs.
All right, that's defensive coordinator of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs, Rob Pace. Want to thank him for joining us. Always a great interview, a lot of fun to talk to, and actually we'll give you our game of the week.
Yeah, we'll see him again on Fridays. The guys at Sports on Tap, we are going to be at in North Ridgeville. We're going to be covering the regional Division II, Region 6, the regional final between Avon and Olmsted Falls. Kind of Olmsted Falls, we're getting familiar with you guys out there. This is going to be our fourth game now that we've covered this season, so it's always fun. Looking forward to that. And, Rob, you talked about that final question there. How intense is it, and does he have a voice left? I will have to say the Olmsted Falls sidelines is one of the most intense sidelines between Coach Pace and Coach DeLuca. Those guys are really into it, really getting after it, but it's fun, and it's fun to be on the outside looking in. As far as a player that maybe didn't do the correct job,
Right.
would not be fun. But that's okay. That's part of the game. That's what makes boys
good
into
for
men.
you.
Yeah, it makes boys into men.
And all those people listening, we will have the recap Monday night at 7:30. We always do the Monday night recaps here on the
So make
program.
sure you tune in next Monday at 7:30.
Yeah.
Live here on Mixler.
I know. We're winding down the football season here on Sports on Tap.